What is going on, everyone? So this is going to be another kind of weekend training video where I sit down and talk about my training from the last week. And just to give you guys a little bit more insight on everything I'm doing, this was a race week, so a little bit different from the previous video I uploaded where I didn't have a race. Now we're going to kind of talk about what a race week looks like and kind of my training leading up into that. So this is going to be the week of April 4th to April 10th. Monday, April 4th, I had a workout, typically workout kind of Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Thursday type of deal. Usually Monday, Thursday when we're not racing, and then Monday, Wednesday when we are racing. So did a shakeout in the morning, 3 miles. I said in the last video, I'm pretty sure, been really enjoying these shakeout runs before workouts. Just it helps with mileage, but also on top of that, it feels me ready, like makes me feel ready coming in to kind of the workouts later on in the afternoon. And then we did 10 by 400, which I didn't end up uploading as a video. Ended up having to do some stuff beforehand and wasn't able to record that, but it was a really good workout. 10 by 400 is kind of a staple workout here. We do it a lot during track, a couple times a year, and this is the fastest average and close I've ever had during that workout. So we do 10 by 400 around mile pace, and we have a minute rest. Average 62.6 on this and ended up closing in 58. I'll throw the Strava stuff up on screen so you can kind of see all of those splits, but was really happy with this workout. Kind of had a rough patch in the middle where I was like, uh-oh, I may have went out a little bit too hard, because that tends to happen sometimes. You get excited the first couple of reps, but then it really comes to bite you in the butt later on. But ended up closing really well and having a really good workout. Did 3 up and 3 down on the day there. So overall had 12 miles on the day, so a really solid start to the week. Next day, just did some easy recovery, did 10 miles, 7:20 pace, nice and easy. Was a good day there. And then the next day was kind of our second kind of workout on the week. Did 8 miles, but in the middle did 10 times minute on, minute off, kind of minute on-ish around tempo-ish pace, not too fast. Probably started out around 5:30s and slowly worked down to probably around 5 flat, maybe a little bit under. But that workout kind of just getting the legs turning a little bit for the race, just so we're not easy running all the way up. It's nice to get the legs turning a bit, and I honestly enjoy doing 10 by minute on, minute off before races. Makes me feel ready going into the race. And then we traveled earlier the next morning. So my next run was my pre-meet. We were in Tennessee. I did 6 miles and some strides with Hunter. Was a really good run there. Felt pretty good. The strides felt decent. It was a little bit windy, and kind of looking at the weather the next day for the race, I was getting a bit nervous, uh-oh, this may not be the conditions we're looking for. But then the next day was the race day. Did a little shakeout in the morning. Typically do that. My shakeout tends to be 10 minutes. And then, so I do that typically 5-ish hours out from the race, and then warmed up 2 miles and had the 1500, which I did upload as a video on the channel. Ran 4 flat, was pretty cold and rainy and windy, but overall was happy with how I raced, happy with how I moved up during the race. Got out towards the back and kind of slowly worked my way up and ended up having a decent finish. You can go watch that video if you want a little bit more details on the race, but then cooled down 3.5 miles, which I'm not sure how much that had on the day, probably a little over 8. So overall, a pretty solid day there. And then the next day I did long run. Wasn't as enjoyable as long runs here. We're at a hotel, kind of not near downtown Knoxville at all, so ended up having to do just a random route from the hotel, and most of it was just sidewalks next to a big highway. Got into some neighborhoods after 5 miles of running straight along this road. So ended up being decent. Ran kind of a bit quicker than I wanted to. 16 miles, 6:28 average pace. Ended up doing this alone too, but overall that was a pretty solid run. I didn't feel too sore or tired after the race, so ended up having a pretty solid day there. And then to cap off the week, we flew home that day. And then Sunday's run was back here in Youngstown, 10 miles, nice and easy, once again, to kind of cap off the week. I actually think I did 9.5 in strides. Let me check. yeah, I ended up doing 9.5-inch strides because we typically work out on a Monday. So 9.5-inch strides there overall. Really solid week of training. 70 miles on the week for race week. Typically how mileage is going right now is around 80-ish on weeks that I'm not racing, and then weeks that I am racing around 70-ish, and then kind of cutting down towards the end of the season once like conference and stuff comes around. So once again, this is probably going to go up tomorrow on Thursday, so I'm in a race week right now, so going to run around 70 this week as well. 5K coming up at Bucknell, so be on the lookout for that video because that will be going up. And then after that, it's going to have 2 weeks off of racing and kind of getting ready for conference, and then conference will come around. Not really sure what I'm going to run yet, so should be pretty interesting once it comes around. But overall, that is this week of training. Went pretty well. Hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.